Kanye's Donda album and how well it did. And you had some issues with Kanye. You called him clown several times.
I called him a clown, and I still stand by that, and I still mean that.
Send him healing energy.
No, I mean, I do, but I still think he's a clown. You can send a clown healing energy. What's so funny? No, so when it comes to so many people call me artists, athletes, OGs, newer artists, younger artists, Kanye's team, and asked me why I felt that way. And I explained to them why I felt that way. And, they asked me, well, why do you think that the people that I named, which was Pusha T, John Monopoly, Free, and Boo, were like that too? Because I felt like I said, I feel like you enable him to do it. Like you don't stop him from doing the wild out stuff behind the scenes that I think is really disrespectful, and he should be humbled. And they told me that that's a lie. It was like, that is not true. It was like, when you're dealing with somebody that has emotional problems and bipolar and things like that, you can't necessarily control them. It's uncontrollable. You do what you can to make sure that things are all right, and they try to stay in there as a brother. But they said, yeah, they agree some of the things that he does is foul, but they said they can't control that man. And I called them clowns as well, and I called Pusha T yesterday, I called Free yesterday, and I spoke to Boo yesterday for a while, and I spoke to them, and we had great conversations, and they told me what they're trying to do to help that situation. So to those brothers, yes, I get it, and me calling you a clown was foul. But I still think Kanye is a clown for the things that he
does.
do.
If you ever had to deal with somebody who's bipolar and not taking their medication, it is not an easy thing to do. If you love them, you try to help and be around, but it is hard to control a person.
Yeah. I just want what's good, hit that thumbs up button. So you see DJ Envy basically was telling everybody, explaining his remarks, and he had to have some conversations with some people in Kanye's camp. But it's one of them situations where they both clowns, but I agree with him. And some people say, well, Envy's living up to his name. He's envious. I don't think Envy's jealous. I mean, Envy's got a pretty good life for himself. He's got a beautiful family. He's got a lot of cars. He's got a few million in the bank. But it's just Kanye's been so protected by the industry for so long, and his fans enable him. Even the fans don't keep it a buck with him sometimes. They enable him. Sometimes real fans will tell you the truth about your content and what you're doing. If you're moving like a clown, they're going to tell you. And he's got a lot of yes men in his circle. A lot of yes sir, master type of dudes around him. It's like, this dude has been cocky and arrogant ever since, really, when they did that Clash of the Titans in 2007 when he beat 50 Cent. He's been arrogant since then. We haven't seen humble Kanye since the Backpack days, College Dropout, Late Registration. They've created a monster. You wonder why Jay don't roll with him no more, and a lot of them Rockefeller cats that came in that was around Kanye 20 years ago, they not there with him no more. And I get it, in life you outgrow people and vice versa. Everyone's not going to be down for the ride that you was cool with 20 years ago, but nobody, and if you thought he was arrogant before, now he's a billionaire, he's ran for office, he's been tapping Kim Kardashian for the last few years. You really can't tell him nothing now, But I mean, Envy's telling the truth. It's just you're not used to seeing someone from the industry actually saying these things about Kanye West. But a lot of people believe it, but don't say it. They protect him. They always have mental health issues. Oh, he's still suffering from the loss of his mother. Look, rest in peace to Donda. That was devastating when that happened. That was 2007. How long are we going to keep making excuses for somebody's behavior? You're a grown-ass man, dog. You pushing 50. And it's just all these shenanigans all the time. I mean, this whole thing with this album, 27 songs, 30 features, 50-minute long album. Kanye's at this point where his brand is so big, it supersedes his music quality. Like, the brand itself sells the album. You don't have to put out a single. It's Kanye. It's like Denzel. Denzel puts a movie out. You don't care what the movie is, really. It's Denzel. It's going to sell itself. And he's at that point where it's like Pootie Tang. Pootie Tang put an album out where it was no music and it was a hit. That's Kanye. He's got a big cult fan base, and he's reached that Britney, that Madonna, Beyonce status where it's like the brand just is so big, he could put out anything. But you got this so you got a bunch of cats right now who don't even listen to gospel music regularly, listening to it because it's Kanye. I don't listen to gospel music like that. I'm gonna keep it a buck. So I didn't care for the album. I heard like 2 tracks. I was like, I don't care. Life of Pablo, I don't care. Jesus and Frisbee, Frisbee, throw that out the window. I haven't been a fan of his music in a long time, personally. But a lot of his fans, they enable him to death. He can do no wrong. It's just a lot of clownery, man. I mean, the way they handled this whole album, now he's blaming Universal. Universal leaked it. Soulja Boy saying he was supposed to be on the album. They took it down. They took off his verse. Chris Brown said the same thing. They took down his, Kanye took my stuff down. You don't see these issues happen with anybody else when they put an album out but this weirdo. All these extra theatrics and all this drama all the time, and it's annoying. I was just glad they finally put the album out because I got so sick and tired of the whole banter back and forth with him and Drake, just for them to dodge the Drake release anyway and put the album out a week in advance. And I'm like, because that album, and I don't know if Drake's album is going to be good or not, but the chances of people enjoying that album better than Drake's, slim to none. I mean, this is just Drake's generation. This is his time. Kanye's had his time. Now it's another guy's time, But Envy was, I don't have an issue with Envy said. And I'm not a big Envy fan. I've blasted him on this show before, as well as The Breakfast Club. When he was out here dogging out Kevin Samuels a few months back, said, I used to see him hustling in front of the Hermes store. I'm like, yeah, you used to sell mixtapes out of your trunk. And, what's you coming up? What's wrong with that? So, I mean, it's a clown calling another person a clown. The pot's calling the kettle black. But just because you don't like the messenger doesn't mean the message isn't correct. Because in my opinion, he was spot on. It's just no one's really called Kanye West out for his fuckery. Y'all have created a monster. And like I say, he's got the big brand. Like I say, he's big into fashion. You got the Kardashian rub the last few years. You ran for office. He really, you've created something that is going to be a long time before you see him just sit down somewhere. And Angela Yee was like, well, maybe he needs to take his medicine because he's bipolar. We already know he's bipolar. And the worst thing you could do dealing with a bipolar person is enable them. They need help. And the people that's around him need to sit his ass down. But it's hard to do that when the big homie got $1 billion in the bank. Big homie don't really get checked too often. You ever had a big brother or a big cousin or something and you try to tell them something? It's hard to tell an older person, especially if they the big homie, that they wrong or they need to. It's kind of hard to check some of these older cats. They real stubborn. So no one in his camp has really been able to gather him because they know he be tripping. He be off his rocker, but that's Kanye and he putting them on and they eating. So they sipping herbal tea in the studio and all of that shit in Wyoming or whatever. So they just letting shit slide. But nah, and according to Envy, they had a hell of a conversation. They probably was agreeing with him too. They probably was like, yeah, bro, I'm glad you said that because somebody had to say it. Oh man, but Kanye is bozo, man, big time bozo. Like I said, y'all have allowed this dude to become larger than life. And it's ridiculous. It's like, I'm sitting here like, I'm supposed to be excited about this. And like I said, his first few albums was dope. I liked him. I've always liked him more as a producer than an artist. But yeah, I was like, whatever, man, just drop the album already. I already knew I wasn't going to probably care for it. And it is what it is. But somebody will get mad and say, oh, you hating on Kanye. That's all you simple-minded niggas do. Y'all assume that's the dumbest, that's the easiest shit you can just come up with to summarize somebody's statement that you don't agree with. You hating. Grow the fuck up. Get a better vocabulary. Let me know what y'all think about Kanye West and DJ Envy.